This is really important because it gives us a glimpse inside the SDNY's ongoing investigation. Now, the key phrase here is probable cause. Now, probable cause, of course, is less evidence than the beyond a reasonable doubt that you need to get a conviction in front of a jury. What does it mean? It means a fair probability that contraband or evidence of a crime will be found in a particular place. Now, Jen, you and I have dealt with this. You know, you can't just go to a judge as a prosecutor and say, hey, judge, take my word for it. We have probable cause. You and I have done this. You have to type it all out, all the evidence, bring it to a judge. Then a judge reviews it. The judge may agree or disagree. Here we know the judge has signed it, so we know the prosecutors and the judge have both found there is probable cause.
And before you even get to the point where you're going to a judge, of course, there are a lot of obstacles in the way of prosecutors in these kinds of search warrants. The sanctity of attorney-client communications is something prosecutors take very seriously, so there are lots of hurdles in the way. First, you start in your own office. You have to go all the way up to the top. So at the Southern District of New York, of course, acting U.S. Attorney Audrey Strauss would have approved of this. Then you go down to Washington. There's a special unit there that handles these kinds of applications called the Office of Enforcement Operations. And now there's even another hurdle in the way, which is put in place by Jeffrey Rosen, the former Deputy Attorney General under former President Trump. He issued a memo on his way out the door in December of 2020 that says now, in the case of lawyer search warrants, prosecutors have to get approval from the Deputy Attorney General. So this one, Rudy Giuliani's search warrant, we know went all the way up to the position that's now held by Lisa Monaco. Whether or not Merrick Garland, the AG, approved it, we don't know for sure. It's likely in a case of this political sensitivity that he would have, but we're not 100% sure.
That's a high bar. That's a lot of hoops you have to jump through to get to where they got to yesterday, inside Rudy's apartment and office, grabbing his stuff. What happens next, Ellie, to that stuff, everything that was seized?
Yeah, John, so first, the FBI and federal prosecutors will take all those cell phones, laptops, whatever devices they seized, and they will do a forensic review of those electronic devices. Essentially, they'll tap into those cell phones. They'll recover all the emails, texts, DMs, whatever's in there. Now, people sometimes think they can delete these things. You and I both know, Jen, the FBI is really good at finding them. You think you may delete, they're usually still in there. Then prosecutors will sit down and review all the evidence from this search warrant and elsewhere. You and I have done this, and then make a charging decision. Do we have enough evidence to charge? Do we have enough evidence to prove this case beyond a reasonable doubt to the jury? Now, if you're wondering how long could this take, there's no specific timetable, but for reference, Michael Cohen's office was raided by the FBI in April of 2018. It took 4 months until August of 2018 for him to be charged and plead guilty.
And speaking of charging decisions, the act that seems to be the most relevant here is called the Foreign Agents Registration Act, or FARA for short. And what that prohibits is this. It's acting as an agent of a foreign principal, which means you're acting at the direction or control of someone foreign, a foreign person, a foreign government, to engage in political activities within the U.S., such as intending to influence a U.S. official in U.S. or foreign policy. And the kicker here is that if you do all of that without having properly registered with the Department of Justice, that's illegal. And that's for transparency purposes. It's okay to lobby on behalf of foreign interests, of course, but the U.S. government wants to know who's behind the lobbying. It's a matter of national security. So that's why FARA is an important law. That's why prosecutors, we think, are looking at Rudy Giuliani in connection with that statute.
And the thing, guys, is this isn't Rudy Giuliani's only problem, his only legal problem here. What else is he looking at right now, Ellie?
Yeah, Rudy's legal problems are piling up, Brianna. We know that Rudy has been sued civilly by Dominion Voting Systems, alleging that he caused over $1 billion of damage for defamation based on false statements about election fraud. Relatedly, we know Rudy is being investigated criminally by the Fulton County District Attorney down in Atlanta for potential perjury from when he went in front of the Georgia legislature and again made false statements about election fraud. And of course, we know DOJ continues to investigate the causes of the January 6th Capitol insurrection. We all remember when Rudy Giuliani stood in front of that crowd and said,
let's have trial by combat.
Trial by combat. So DOJ continues to investigate and potentially make those cases as well. Rudy's got an awful lot of legal problems, and he's got one more.